Welcome back to the Pod of Greed.
What do you think of me doing that with you this time?
Only the one time,
Was
never
that
again after this.
Upsetting, maybe?
It did trigger me, but I also kind of left it open for it to happen. So I don't hate you for it. I just resent you.
All right. Well, welcome back to the one and only podcast
On the internet. See, I can do that too.
Yeah. Happy Thanksgiving. At least the day that you're listening to this. We're recording it a little bit early because
we have our own Thanksgivings.
And that means that we're doing an Emptying the Pot episode. Emptying the Pot as in we're going to answer a bunch of viewer questions that you guys have submitted.
As many as we can in a allotted amount of time that we'll decide on the fly. Basically, when we get tired.
Yeah, so we've got a lot of questions here. I've kind of just randomized a bunch of them. Most of it's like Yu-Gi-Oh related. Some stuff's kind of like other things. Some really good questions. Some are really long. Some are pretty short and sweet.
A lot of paragraphs.
But regardless, I think it'll be cool. And we will also catch up on any major news this week, next week when we get, back to recording. Although I don't think that'll be too much because typically I've noticed that companies kind of tend to like not do announcements on like the week of Thanksgiving, week of Christmas.
Yeah, I mean, it's an assumption that companies don't like work on holidays, but I feel like Konami employees work year round.
Who's to say? I feel like they might not ever.
I don't think Jerome gets to leave the basement.
He might not be able to. He's still got to make like ban lists or something. Okay, so yeah, we'll hop right into it. But real quick, make sure that you leave a 1 in the chat.
Premier Gang, rise up.
I do have an announcement about that at the end of the podcast. If I remember.
Let's see if he remembers.
I probably won't. But yeah, okay. So I'll start with the first question then.
All right.
Jacob here, frequent listener of the podcast. What is your guys' opinion on outrage and extremism culture?
Ooh,
starting off
political, huh?
Heavy hitting. Well, it's not really political, that he's referring to, but I remember you covering the Shadowverse Worlds Beyond and the overwhelmingly negative reaction to its monetization system.
Oh, yeah.
The game seems to be doing fine now, but I can't help but feel bad about the game having overwhelming negative reviews based on an early decision. What's your opinion on things that are subject to outrage online? Negative content can be a good way of drawing attention to problems, but what's the long-term impact of this negativity on the game? Is it simply just a means to an end, and is there room for civil discourse over the problem when outrage is faster and extremely effective? Love the podcast. Thank you.
Oh, man.
What a juicy one to like bite into.
And I remember that very, very well. Because
you played it a little.
Yeah, I did. All essentially the first 2 weeks of the launch of the game, I was playing and I was reading online discourse about it.
Yeah, and we kind of covered it on the pod.
And you'd have to be underneath a rock to not see the outrage that follows basically every game release nowadays.
I know what you mean. It just already like just the basis is like when things come out now. Sorry, before things come out now. Like
we're
even
already
before,
mad.
like we're already kind of like forming these expectations and like these judgments and just sort of like. I mean, I think we've talked about it a little bit on the podcast before. You see it, before movies, like when a casting announcement is made, right? Like it's just like, oh, like she's in that role. Like I'm not gonna watch this now. Like oh, he's in everything. Like I'm not gonna watch this. And obviously with games and other stuff, it's kind of everywhere. As far as the Shadowverse thing goes, I haven't followed it since a lot of that major controversy, but it does sound like
why you haven't followed it?
Because it's not controversial anymore, right?
Exactly. Yeah. Because the game is just fine the way it is, and the devs have made changes to the game since all that happened, but nobody reports when games are like
fixed,
doing what they're supposed to do. They only want to report when it's a sensationalist headline, which it's a kind of a two-pronged problem. On one hand, all that early negative attention is still attention. I imagine developers would still prefer all that attention being positive, but there's kind of no way to match the sheer amount of reach you get from negative headlines with positive ones. Like the only thing Shadowverse could have done to like match the sheer amount of negativity they were getting is if they were just start giving away like $1,000 to like 500 players.
Yeah, if you download the game, you have a 1 in 10 chance of getting $1,000.
And it's so unrealistic, and that just shows how powerful negative media is.
Yeah, it does suck that that's kind of the only way that things move, like, is through negativity. I think it's a little bit exhausting because like it's difficult, I would imagine, if you're a creator of a game or like a dev or whatever, to when the negative intention is like just flowing in from all directions, it's probably tough to isolate like legitimate criticism from just like, you know, someone who just kind of is joining in the dog pile. Because like with Shadowverse, for instance, I know that there were some monetization qualms.
For sure.
But I also think like it's a new game that just came out, and like, and I think one of us said it on the pod. Of course, you're not gonna have everything day one.
No, you're not really supposed to, like, unless you want to spend money.
Yeah, exactly. And so I think that this is like a very card game specific take on this. Is like, because Master Duel kind of experiences even the same thing where people want to just have access to everything. I want to have like all the decks, all the cards, and you know, maybe this is a sort of unpopular way of viewing it, but these games do need you to like kind of develop a play pattern and like play a little bit every day, like get your dailies, get your login bonuses, like spend time like, you know, playing the ladder, maybe not with the absolute best deck from the jump, because that's gonna, they're gonna like kind of sprinkle in like, here's how you'll get gems doing this and you'll get gems doing that. And if you want to, like you said, expedite the process,
you break out the old debit card.
You can break out the wallet, but like, yeah, you're not going to have everything on like week one. And to me, that's okay.
And it should be okay. It's not wrong for the developers of a freemium card game to say, hey, you have to unlock cards by playing the game. By you playing the game every day, that's how they actually hit their like success metrics. Yeah. That's how the game actually generates most of its money, is by people showing up every day. They don't actually need you or want you to out the gate drop $1,000 on the game. I guess they might.
Yeah, they probably don't mind if you
nice.
do.
That might be nice, but they don't expect every player to do that. But they do expect you to play and earn the rewards over time. The problem I think that we have is we're used to expediting the process
of everything
in card gaming, especially. We're now so used to decks always being optimal that we have a very low tolerance for when we can't optimize our decks. Think about it, when you want to build a new deck, right? Mm-hmm. If you can only get 1 and 2 copies of all the cards, are you
won't even like sleeve it up.
You won't even sleeve the deck. You won't even bother playing it. It's not optimal. I don't want it. Even though you technically have, let's say, 40 out of the, not 40, I'm thinking of other card games, 30 out of the 40 cards you need for the deck, because you can't run the best cards all at 3, you now no longer want to play at all.
Yeah, and you know, something else that I kind of also think about too, because, you know, he asks in this question as well, like just, you know, what's your opinion on things that are sort of subject to outrage online, and can it like have long-term ramifications? I think that the long-term ramification that I've seen this happen to card games and games and stuff in general is like sometimes stuff has to like literally gets shut down if it doesn't see early success.
Typically
like,
they do.
Imagine if you had a friend today who's sort of like vaguely interested in playing Shadowverse, and they're like, hey, you know, I'm kind of interested in Shadowverse, and then their friend tells them, oh, that's that game that like everyone hated. Everybody said it was terrible, because like you said, like that's the last that somebody heard of it was like 6 months ago when it launched, and it was apparently awful and terrible. And so then the other friend's like, oh, okay, yeah, never mind, I won't try it. It sounds like it sucks. The truth is, well, now it has been resolved, and people are satisfied or whatever. But when you only get the one piece of negative coverage, and that's what the mainstream sees, like those reputations can sometimes never really be fixed.
You can't really break them. Not when because like if you look at like gaming, right? Gaming is always niche. No, even the most popular video games are still niche. There is a majority of people who are not within the niche of that video game, where only certain headlines will ever reach the majority. Yeah. Typically, it's the most negative things about your favorite video game or card game is what the mainstream knows of your game, and you actually cannot cleanse them of that idea. Yeah. It can't be done because they only hear the negative things.
It's funny sorry, go ahead.
I was gonna say, when it comes to like that early negative wave that hits, especially in the like freemium gaming space, there's a very substantial financial impact all games take when that happens. because in the mobile gaming sphere, most of the money a game makes over its lifetime, if it's going to be successful, is made during its opening weeks.
Right.
They make they can make such an intense amount of money during those early weeks that can set up the entire production cycle of that game for years to come. Once they've seen the very high highs of the game, the development team and the people in charge of them are like, okay, we can make a plan behind that. But when they get those early negative waves, it actually cuts their
projections
opening revenue by a lot.
Yeah, and then they have to like adjust projections, and they might just have to like...
They start firing the dev crew
people
up.
Get like laid off.
We're going skeleton crew now. The game's not going to die immediately. We're just not going to invest many more resources into this game because we've already seen the best it can do.
There's one last thing that I've also noticed with, games, movies, shows, just media talk these days is like, I think people kind of want a rapid conclusion on situations, like around like how good a game is, how good a movie is. It's like we kind of want to be able to say like with certainty that this is a masterpiece or this is awful or like, this new update to Tekken 8 that changed some things killed the game. Like we want to kind of be able to point to like, that's the update that killed Tekken, or that's the update that like they changed this thing in Marvel Rivals and it killed the game. Like, and people, I don't know if it's because we've kind of grown up following so much coverage of this stuff, or maybe just like, being exposed to more opinions and seeing some of our favorite games die off and stuff. It's like now we want to almost play a more prominent role in dictating whether or not a game is like dead on arrival or, and like I see people say stuff like this and I almost find myself wondering, if you are in such a rush to sort of say something it's dead or like it, whatever, sometimes like I think prophesizing the death of something becomes like a self-fulfilling prophecy. Like, it sounds dumb to say, but you know what I mean?
I think a lot of people want to be able to prophesize the death of something. They want to do that.
Yeah. And
as long as it's not your something, in a weird way, you want it to die because that validates the things you do like.
Yeah. And that's zero-sum game of like, well, if this other card game dies, then like, at least it wasn't my game. And so, yeah. Is there a more productive way of doing it? I guess is the last part he's asking. I think that this is going to be like a super duper, I'm going to say something that's really like basic, but a lot of people don't actually know it. A lot of games do actually have like feedback portals. Yeah. And most people aren't aware of them, or like they feel that that's the boring, unsexy way of like having your opinion heard. It's just like going to like the feedback surveys or that sort of thing.
The problem with feedback surveys are there's no like transparency to how that information is received and then what the plan is to tackle it. So I think a lot of people feel like such things do nothing.
Yeah, like it'd be faster to kind of scream online and get that validation of like the likes and the clicks and like people are talking about what you have to say.
Sometimes devs respond to you on like Twitter, like Harada, right?
Yeah, maybe he'll get scolded by him on Twitter. I don't know. Yeah, I think like more people should try to like fill out surveys. And the last thing that I'll add also to surveys, because I know this from playing Master Duel a lot. Master Duel does surveys. Everybody's kind of like, they don't listen to surveys. I've been telling them to ban Maxi forever, and like they still haven't done it. And I'm telling you, this comes up like every month when there's a survey. And people will say this, and I think that an important thing to keep in mind with game development cycles is they take time, right?
Yep.
The thing that you want is not just going to like get implemented next month because you said it, you the one important gamer. But also, just because, just because a company doesn't do what you said that they should do, doesn't mean they didn't hear what you said. It just means that they decided not to do that.
From
right? Like,
personal experience, and because I think some of it might be confidential, I won't go too far into it. I can say for pretty much, I'm pretty sure in saying this, when it comes to like Japanese companies actually kind of live and die by surveys. I think more so than even Western companies. If like a company like Bandai or Konami has a survey out there, you might not think that means anything, but it's actually
probably pretty important.
They pour over that survey data pretty extensively, and I've talked to people in organizations where the decisions that come out like a year from now are largely predicated by what they got from surveys a year prior. It just takes a while.
Right. Yeah. So I don't think it's going to be something that's changing anytime soon. Like I think people are going to be screaming for
as long
the
as there's
foreseeable
because
future.
social media also makes you want to do the yelling,
Yeah, you
negative
yell and
stuff.
scream.
And that's unless all some social media disappears, which that would be terrible for our podcast.
Yeah.
But if all of it disappeared, then I mean,
Maybe things change.
maybe things change.
All right. Well, let's do a more fun question to
my
cool
turn.
off with.
How would you feel if Konami did crossovers with Yu-Gi-Oh! And other Konami intellectual properties like Silent Hill, Metal Gear, Castlevania, etc.?
Okay.
All right, that's dope.
This is something that has been coming up a lot because of like the whole like Magic the Gathering and like the Universes Beyond conversation.
Mm-hmm.
Some people like Universes Beyond, some people don't. I think when it comes to Yu-Gi-Oh! And Konami, I feel like a lot of us sort of agree that as cool as it might have seemed, like, oh, what if Konami did a Fortnite archetype or something? I think most people I hear don't like that idea. They would rather it maybe be, or at least they don't seem super thrilled about the idea of it. But something that I do hear is this question a lot, where like, well, what if they use, like, they kind of partner just with like Silent Hill and Metal Gear and Castlevania?
So there's as we both already know, and I imagine most of you guys know, there's already precedent for Konami to include their other IPs within the Yu-Gi-Oh! Card game. It's all older stuff.
And it's often sort of indirect.
But, you know,
outside of Gradius,
but they've
is
also
pretty direct.
done newer things, right? Power Pro Baseball, that's Konami.
Mm-hmm.
What was that sports game, that soccer game? I can't remember the name
eFootball
of it.
is the
eFootball,
current one.
another Konami property. They still do Yu-Gi-Oh! Collabs with their very biggest, most modern things. They just don't seem to be in a hurry to do callbacks to their older titles.
I don't know if eFootball is actually a Konami thing, because that might be Pro Evolution Soccer.
Is it Pro Evolution Soccer?
Well, Pro Evolution Soccer is the one that Konami publishes. I think eFootball isn't published by Konami.
Oh, okay.
I think it's just like it's. But
guys, I don't know soccer.
But no, your
games.
point largely stands. I mean, yeah.
But what I say is, that's actually kind of lock in step with how a lot of these large Japanese companies operate for some reason. Their older IPs just kind of atrophy, and they don't pay much attention to them at all. And I don't know why, because I think of like Nintendo's handling of like Star Fox and like Capcom with Mega Man, but like, and Konami has Castlevania. Like,
well, I think Konami's mostly been like, because they did just release that Metal Gear game this year.
We don't count that.
Well, no, I mean, it's a new game. It's like a remake, but it's a new game. And I know they just did Silent Hill F.
They did do Silent Hill F. That's true.
I mean, there's stuff. It's just like, I think with Konami.
But where's Castlevania?
Yeah, I don't know.
The Netflix series?
Yeah, there was the Netflix series.
That doesn't count either.
I don't know how.
I want video games.
So I think like with this, though, I guess, are we suggesting kind of like, do we want to see full archetypes or like, because Konami tends to like references.
Shouldn't they've done
like
references, but I think they could go as far as to do archetypes that are inspired by. So I imagine there might be still some issues when it comes to directly referencing even titles they own.
Right.
So I would look at it as like maybe a Vendread style reference where we're heavily inspired by a property or properties, but it's not exactly like one-to-one. And that shouldn't be very difficult, I'd imagine.
Yeah, I think that Konami should be able to do these sorts of things. I just
don't know if any if whoever Konami is marketing to nowadays, 'cause I'm really not sure, honestly, are they all that familiar with Konami's backlog? Because
I guess it's like, so you're asking like, would people care about a Silent Hill archetype?
Because we care, but as time passes, I'm not sure if we're what Konami wants to market to.
I don't think they have much choice. I mean, if I'm being, maybe that's too cynical of me, but like, I think that like most card games, it feels like Yu-Gi-Oh's kind of decided that it's just going to aim for the 30-year-old and their nostalgia. My biggest concern with that, though, and it is still similar to your question, is like, I actually don't know how much nostalgia there is for Konami's specific IPs. Like,
I didn't want to go there. I honestly didn't.
But you'd be right. Like, I don't know if people care a lot about like
if
Silent Hill. Now, this isn't me saying that like Silent Hill sucks as an IP. Right. I'm just saying that I don't I would like to know like how many people are going to kind of come out of the woodwork, because that's why because that's why I'm reacting to Alex's expression if anybody's wondering, but like that's the whole reason why Wizards of the Coast and Hasbro are doing Universes Beyond. It's not just because they kind of think this stuff is cool. It's to get new people in. Like it is who does not play Magic the Gathering that can we like get by partnering with Marvel, lots of people. Final Fantasy, lots of people.
Avatar: The Last Airbender.
Avatar: The Last Airbender and things like that. Spider-Man. But then on the other hand, like from my anecdotal kind of experience, I don't hear a lot of people head over heels for Silent Hill or Metal Gear. Okay. I mean, Metal Gear's not even getting new games because like this new game's like a remake.
Go backwards in time to 2009. I think this conversation's very different. Mm-hmm. Those games aren't as old then as they are today.
Right.
But in 2025, it's kind of like how I mentioned, like Konami's IP is atrophying.
Yes.
People don't care about Konami's titles like they once did. So I don't know if making these like referenced archetypes, crossovers, whatever you want to call them, I don't know if there's a whole lot of upside to it.
No, the thing is, though, I guess this isn't really an upside, but I guess it's like the lack of a downside per se is that like if they own them all, I guess it wouldn't be too hard.
There's no downside. Let's be clear. There is no downside to doing it. Well, yeah. If the cards look cool, we're not going to complain.
Because typically the downside you would cite is like, okay, licensing costs. Mm-hmm. Where like, oh, if it costs them, like millions in contracting licensing fees to get an archetype or like a Universes Beyond set and it doesn't do very well, then Hasbro's not happy. But if it's Konami, then I imagine that internally that should be a pretty easy thing. Like we own this IP, we own that IP. They have to get maybe some permission from Shueisha because Konami doesn't own Yu-Gi-Oh! They just have a license to Yu-Gi-Oh! So there might be complication, but it shouldn't be something where like I wouldn't think there'd be fees attached.
I'd be surprised if there was a true issue with it because it seems like I don't think Shueisha's in any hurry to shop Yu-Gi-Oh! Around. So I think Konami probably can get away with more than what they do.
So if they did it, would you buy it? Like, would there be one that you'd be like into especially?
I mean, Castlevania is fire. Mm-hmm. I'll never say no to that. I mean, I loved playing like Gradius as a kid. So Gradius would be like in second place for me. And you could miss me with Silent Hill. I do not like horror.
Yeah, I was just sitting here looking these up real quick. I didn't know that they had Frogger. Frogger is Konami.
Which funny. That could be a whole archetype.
Bomberman.
You can play it with frogs.
Yeah, okay. I mean, I would certainly be picking up the cards. I think that they'd probably be fun for collectors. That might be an answer to kind of Yu-Gi-Oh's collectors vacancy that it sort of has. If you view that as like a solution.
I don't know. Like at least in Yu-Gi-Oh, we don't collect new cards. We collect old cards. So I still don't know if printing a new card for collector's value works. I mean, we could have a cultural change. Like, there's no reason we can't.
I think that if like a collector is currently ignoring any new Yu-Gi-Oh cards, and by collector I mean like kind of the high end guy who wants PSA grade stuff or whatever and buy and sell cards. I think that they're obviously ignoring like Hecka Hands and Kuel Tunes from the upcoming deck builder set because they don't care, and those are all about like playing in tournaments. I think that they might pick up the Metal Gear and Silent Hill archetypes, or like the key cards of them in Starlight Rare, because that might age well over time.
There's a chance.
I'm just imagining a chance. All right, well, here's my next question.
What you got?
What's your North American TCG tier list? And then bonus question, are there any dead TCGs that you'd want to revive? Much love for the one and only podcast on the internet.
We appreciate you.
Very good that they recognize
this is fun. And I wish Alex was here. He
I know. So it's funny. You and Alex made a video, actually, on this channel, an Amplifier, that was like a TCG tier list.
Boy, sorts. Alex got toe up behind that.
Yeah. I'm going to defer more so to you for this one. I don't think that I am qualified. I will the best I think I can contribute to this is like vibes. Like I know kind of just like vibes from the back seat of some of this, like from a distance, but I'm really a Yu-Gi-Oh guy through and through. I only have dabbled the slightest bit in stuff. So You have the stage.
All right, bet. All right, this is going to be completely opinionated. I'm not going to give any love to games I don't play, and that's just how that's going to go. So S tier, right? That's going to go to Digimon. It's the most fun TCG that I play. Head over, and then the IP behind it, head over heels, puts it just over everybody. S tier game, will play forever. You cannot stop me.
What's like kind of the like? Why do you? Is there something about the? So do you say your Digimon love is almost more like it's just the fact that Digimon exists as a card game, or there's something
it's dual purpose, right?
Okay.
So me, I guess you can call me like an IP based card gamer because the IP behind the card game plays a large role in whether or not I'm even interested in it. So that's a strong, like Digimon was one of my first loves as a kid. That's a strong point in his favor. But if Digimon was a boring card game, it would not rank highly to me at all. Digimon has a novel like trading card game system. A lot of games can feel samey, but you can never say that Digimon is like any other card game that is currently played. There's a game it's like that's used to be played
because of which is like the memory system.
The memory system.
Yeah, that's what I was
as
thinking.
you and your opponent essentially share the memory gauge and pass turn back and forth to each other.
Right.
It's such a novel system. I love playing Digimon. So Digimon's kind of my S tier game.
The thing I'll add to that too is that I think Digimon's art is very good. That kind of extends to all more or less of the Bandai games. They get some very talented people in those.
They go crazy
cards, but like I think Digimon in particular does the best.
I tried to do the OK sign with this hand. That doesn't work.
Of the Bandai games, I think Digimon does it best. And then one other thing that I'll add in there with Digimon 2 is that I feel like I had something really like profound to say, but if it comes up, I'll mention it. Okay, what's your next one?
So my next game. So I'm still gonna put Yu-Gi-Oh in S tier as well. It's hard to really rank Yu-Gi-Oh because Yu-Gi-Oh has changed so aggressively over time.
I know.
So when I say Yu-Gi-Oh is S tier, I'm not saying that Yu-Gi-Oh right now is S tier. What I'm saying is Yu-Gi-Oh has evolved and changed so much over time that it has always been someone's favorite game. At times, it's been my favorite game. I've never lost love for Yu-Gi-Oh. I continue to collect. I continue to build purely based off of the longevity and playability of this game. Because once again, as crazy as this game is, it's always been extremely playable. It's an S tier game to me. It has the history. It has the cards. And Konami is still one of the best like groups to run a card game. I know we shit on them all the time, and they deserve it a lot of the times, but they're still one of the best to do it.
I mean, there's one thing you can say about Konami. It's like people are always like generally kind of unhappy with them or whatever, but it's the card game's still running. Yeah. Like I know that sounds like, oh well, that's like the bars in hell, but actually no, that's not. Like the bar being in hell is that there is a
many card games don't make it.
There is a mounting graveyard of dead card games piled up that it grows like every year. So I know it doesn't sound like, it sounds like just the bare minimum for Yu-Gi-Oh to still be around, but like it's here. Like people care enough to still be playing. So anyway,
I'm gonna drop us down to A tier. We're gonna start off with Magic the Gathering.
Okay.
It's not that Magic is any less playable than Yu-Gi-Oh or Digimon. It's just that I have never been able to sink my teeth into Magic to the same degree that I have with Yu-Gi-Oh and Digimon. I played a lot of Commander. Commander is fun. I don't find it to be a very fun competitive experience. And if you would say, oh, you should play Standard, well, I just haven't had a chance to really play Standard yet, so I don't know. But but Magic gave us Universes Beyond and has completely oversaturated the market in crossovers, the likes of which we've never seen before. And that's actually before. I know it's painful.
To you feel?
It's actually kind of cool though, because that's never happened before. It's kind of like how Pokemon like ruined TCGs, but at the same time, that's kind of cool that Pokemon made such a huge impact in the mainstream, the likes of which no card game has ever done before. And that's not the Pokemon IP. The Pokemon TCG did that.
Yeah, I think the only thing I can contribute to the Magic thing is like Magic's pretty fun. It's pretty easy to learn, and the more that I've tried out other card games, like Alex and I have done a series of videos now, and like doing these like little starter sets of TCGs. I definitely see what people mean when people sort of describe a game as like, oh, like this is Magic, but whatever. This is Magic, except whatever. Like it's the foundation for a lot of play systems, and it's pretty hard for a game to feel fundamentally different than Magic. I have not played a lot of card games in depth, but I feel like outside of Yu-Gi-Oh, which is very much its own beast, I don't think that any game feels much different than Magic. Maybe second place of what I've played would go to like Digimon or Vanguard. Like they're kind of different from Magic enough that they feel unique. But so many games, like when I played Lorcana, I totally get what people mean. And One Piece, it's like, these are just straight up like, this is just Magic the Gathering kind of with whatever. And it's not an insult to those games. Like being derivative isn't inherently bad. It's just like, yeah, that's my bit on Magic. Sorry, go ahead.
Next up, wrapping up A tier, is going to be two games really quick because I don't have too much to say about them. Flesh and Blood and Grand Archive. I've played,
these are some fun picks to have.
So I never got to compete in these two games. But there are two games that I've played like quite a bit as far as people were teaching me how to play, and I played them multiple times at my local card shop. And I can't lie to you, Flesh and Blood is such a deep card game.
That's another one that's it feels not as just Magic clone-y as a lot of other games.
It feels really unique and very, very deep. I honestly really enjoyed Flesh and Blood. The only reason I'm not like a Flesh and Blood player is that I just don't have the money to be investing in more cards because I would surely have a Flesh and Blood deck. There's just the game. Like, it's a lot of fun. It's a very deep game, and for the same reasons like how Grand Archive lands on the list, there are a lot of different like strategies and like cards to like in Flesh and Blood. And honestly, you can take what I just said about Flesh and Blood and transfer it over to Grand Archive as well.
Yep.
We've played Grand Archive.
I liked Grand Archive. I thought it was pretty cool.
There's multiple novel points in the Grand Archive card game, whether it be like the Regalia deck or the way that the elements combine in Grand Archive. I just thought I think it's a very engaging card game. The only thing that holds it back is it's not a widely distributed card game.
That's true.
It's one of the most niche card games you're gonna find.
It's pretty niche
if you find it.
It's from it's made by what is it called, Nerds of the Shore.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
The name of the company.
Sounds familiar. We're not getting all that.
The quick thing I remembered about Digimon that I was going to say was that the only other card game that feels like it's similar to Digimon's memory system that I've played is the Passing of Priority in like Star Wars Unlimited.
And I've never played it, so I don't even know.
That's the only system that feels like vaguely reminiscent of memory. Anyways, next.
Now we're in the B tier. So B tier is Bandai tier. That's kind of where Bandai. All of their card games except for Unarena appear. So that's going to be like Gundam, One Piece. I've played Gundam. I played One Piece.
There was Battle Spirits.
We don't talk about Battle Spirits.
Okay.
Solid games. They don't appeal to me enough to rank much higher. They're great games. If you like them, you should play them. I'm not, and I like the Gundam IP a lot.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about that. I know normally the IP means a lot for you.
The IP does mean a lot.
So what is it about the card game that kind of pulls it back to the B tier for you?
It's that Bandai has a certain way of designing card games that, honestly, once you've made enough of them, gets kind of boring.
It runs together, you feel?
Yeah, it's not saying One Piece and Gundam are boring. It's the fact that the Bandai footprint on card games is so repetitive. Certain like design choices and aspects of Bandai card games are consistent amongst all of them. That's actually the reason why Unarena does not even land in this tier, because it doesn't even have the strengths of these two games to be able to get into B tier for me.
Yeah.
It's just because that game feels to me like it's kind of got every boring part
every
of
bad
a Bandai card game.
I was going to say, we can almost just include Union Arena, like, there's a point that I don't know if I'm
it's going to
C tier, but like,
but
the thing that I've noticed about all of these Bandai card games is that the card template, I don't love. I don't think it's like hideous, but they all look so similar. Like
it's the sameness of them.
The more you squint at like a Bandai game, the more I can't tell them apart. And like, I don't know if that's a good or a bad thing. Like maybe it's fine if you only play a given one, but like sometimes I'll be looking at like a Digimon card, and then someone's like, "Oh yeah, that's the new Union Arena set," and I'm like, "Wait, what? Oh, it is a Union. It's not a Digimon card." And like they all just kind of like One Piece cards look just like Digimon, and like Union Arena to me, like they look the same.
Yeah. I do think this is just my list. I think for other people, they would just switch Digimon out with one of these other Bandai card games.
I bet you're right.
That's perfectly fair.
I bet you're right.
Like if you're a huge One Piece fan, then One Piece is your S tier game, and I have no qualms with that. For me, it won't make S, it won't make A tier. It's a Bandai game. It's not bad. It's just not my jam like that. And then the last thing in B tier is the Pokemon TCG. I'd put it lower because I truly don't enjoy playing the Pokemon TCG, but it does deserve B tier for its
impact.
Colossal cultural impact that we don't have to explain.
I gotta say, man, I think like Pokemon is just the most like boring game ever.
I don't enjoy it.
It is inoffensively boring, but man, is it boring. Like I think that I'll give Pokemon this. They created a pretty simple foundation when they first made the game. It's fairly Magic derivative, like a lot of stuff.
And it thematically match up with a Pokemon battle.
And it hasn't Pokemon's had like power creep in terms of like stats and stuff, stat lines, and they've like VMAX and all that. But like the rules really don't feel like they have fundamentally been altered like at all. And like when I play
those, the strength of their card design, their game design.
Like they've really held to their guns. And when I just do these, like, here's how to play Pokemon starter set, I'm like, this is the only game where when I walk away from a starter set, I'm like, wow, I really do feel like I just know everything there is to know about this. There's just not that much. Like it's very
now. Just to be clear, that doesn't mean I wouldn't get smoked by like a Pokemon player in a tournament. I definitely still lose. It's just that there are games that I could be good at, and there are games I could be bad at, and I'd still enjoy it. The Pokemon TCG is not a game I enjoy, regardless of how well I do. I hate to say it.
All right, and I guess do we want to zip through C tier?
And then C tier is kind of just everything else. Like
I feel you.
If the game isn't dead, it's in C tier. The only game that actually might not be in C tier is the Dragon Ball is whatever the current iteration of the Dragon Ball card game for Bandai is. Only because it should be dead, but it's not.
Yeah, it feels like it's a corpse, but then when you meet somebody who does play Dragon Ball, they seem pretty passionate.
Because it's the IP. It's like Dragon Ball could be their S tier game. It's that weird Bandai rule.
The only thing I'm gonna say about these C tier games, because I guess for you that's like Union Arena, Dragon Ball, Star Wars, Lorcana. I'm guessing all kind of.
I should be clear. Star Wars, I don't rank. Lorcana is definitely in C tier.
Okay.
Like, because there's certain games I've literally not touched enough to even have an opinion on them. The Star Wars card game might be good. I've never actually played it. I've never opened a booster pack. I have no idea.
What about those Universes games? Are you like?
I haven't played
those
them
games. Are insane to me.
I've done a demo of the Universe system twice. I have forgotten it both times.
Okay.
That doesn't mean they're bad.
You just don't.
I just don't have anything on them.
The last thing I guess I can say about any game here in this tier is I found Lorcana to be pretty fun, but very Magic derivative. So that was for my limited time with the game.
That one bores me too.
Yeah, and I'm also not like a Disney adult, so I don't.
I love
so
Disney.
A lot of it doesn't speak to me.
Lorcana.
And Union Arena is a Google Images card game, and I cannot stand those. I do not like card games that are just like anime promo images and like just screenshots from the anime. Like every other Bandai game, I guess I can't speak for Dragon Ball. I have no clue, but like Gundam, Digimon, and One Piece get original art for their cards. Union Arena maybe does too, but like not much. So much of it is like screenshots. I just can't with like that. That's also why I don't like a lot of those Universes systems games because like when we tried like the My Hero card game, a lot of the cards were screenshots, and like that's a turnoff for me personally as a card game. For me, that almost like puts Union Arena in like D tier for me. Like I don't like those kind of games. They seem so.
And there's nothing wrong with if you enjoy Union Arena, that's fine. The strength of Union Arena is if you have a favorite anime series, it likely has a few different strategies you can play within the game. That's a cool-ish factor to Union Arena.
Right.
But that's not going to win any points with me.
Yeah, exactly. Like none of my criticism has anything to do with the quality of gameplay from Union Arena because I am not qualified to say. This is just
I've played it. It is not exciting.
Not for you.
But like for me, it's not exciting to me, but more than anything else, not at all. I'm not very interested in like insert IP game.
Okay.
And then as far as reviving dead games, so I don't want to revive this specific game. This was Battle Spirits. I don't want to revive Battle Spirits, but I just want everyone to know that Battle Spirits had some of the most fun gameplay of any card game I've ever played. And then I still dropped it because I was like, I got too much going on.
Yeah, it's just low on the priority list.
But now the game I would resurrect, Chaotix.
Oh, yeah, okay. That's an old one.
It's an old one, but I really enjoyed it as a kid. And I think about it, I think I played it around the same time as I did Battle Spirits as a kid as well. But I'd like to give Chaotix a chance to fail again.
All right, what's our next question? Because I guess it's going to be yours.
Off.
So this TCG tier list was very fun because I think
chunkier than
there's always a lot to say when it comes to that. Remember, that's just like kind of his tier list, not
it's not an objective tier list, not by any shape of imagination.
And we hate the others.
How would you suggest getting spouses or significant others into Yu-Gi-Oh? My fiance loves the game, but trying to walk her through any modern deck, i.e. branded Blue Eyes Fire King mainly, has turned her off anything past Edison.
Ooh, I have some hot takes here.
All right. So the short answer is you don't. But let's say you do, right? Let's say you have the crazy idea of doing it anyway. You have to create your own format.
Okay, I'm mad at you because you're just saying all the stuff I was about to say. I was like, I have some good juicy takes. Alec, I'm going to say, you're 100% right. Go off. No, literally go off. Like, this is exactly what it.
Create your own format for your SO because Yu-Gi-Oh is a cliff of a card game. At first, it starts off as kind of a hill. It's kind of gradual. It's a lot of fun. You're playing these older style decks. You remember the anime, and then once you reach the kind of that edge where the anime is not carrying you anymore and the cards are starting to have 2-3 different effects printed on them all at the same time, it's a very steep drop off, and you kind of can't carry what we might call a normie through that. It can't really be done unless you completely change the parameters by which everything we enjoy a Yu-Gi-Oh game. And that means reducing the card pool, changing the goal of the game to some degree. Like if I'm playing against Paul in a game of Yu-Gi-Oh, if I'm going first, I want to lock up the board so he never gets to play. Yeah. That's the most efficient way of winning a game of Yu-Gi-Oh. But for your SO, you need to change that win condition. Because that is not fun for anybody unless you're specifically in this community and a masochist or a sadist.
Sorry, just still have more.
No, you can go.
Yeah, I was going to say, so the first thing that you said, the very first thing, you don't, there is something to be said about that. Legitimately, I'm not saying that, you just shouldn't try to ever get your SO into stuff, but in my observation, a lot of times, I'll keep it a buck. Your SO probably don't want to fucking play this shit.
If they are playing Edison, sometimes it's good enough.
Yeah, like a lot of SOs don't want to play Yu-Gi-Oh. Like I'm going to generalize here and just assume that you might be male. And if we're talking about like the general kind of just hetero relationship, your girlfriend or wife probably does not actually want to play Yu-Gi-Oh. What they do want is something that they can share with you. A way to maybe like
be Dr. Phil.
A part of the not Dr. Phil, anyone but him. A lot of people, a lot of people want to be involved in your hobby in some way, And so, like, but they don't actually want to learn about the format. And I think that unless they are actually like a competitive gamer type, which you're lucky if you have one, good, keep them close. But like, unless they actually are like into that world, I think that it is sort of it can be a little bit misguided to try to be like, I'm going to get them into the format and like have them building decks and like keeping up with it. Because it's just Yu-Gi-Oh! For that SO is likely, again, just a way to spend a little time with you. So I think Alec is right that what you really need to be doing is like creating a format for the two of you.
Yeah.
You know, something where it can even be like a single matchup. Like, let's say that as complicated, I'm going to use like a matchup that's complicated, but could be pretty fun for just two people if that was all they ever played. Might be something like Sword Soul versus Branded or Fire Kings versus Mermaid Atlanteans.
Woo!
Crazy, but like if that was like literally what all of your Yu-Gi-Oh games were, like, you know, I'll say like she has the Fire King deck and I've got the Water deck, it would kind of be, it almost turns it into more of like a board game at that point. A board game that you can pull out and play because
goes to chain link net.
Because there'd be a lot of chain links. It could be really crazy, but like you can enjoy an isolated game thing. Like I've seen people try to be like, I'm going to get my sister into Yu-Gi-Oh! I'm like this and that. And it's like, it just doesn't really work. Like there's too much stuff and Yu-Gi-Oh! Moves so fast. And I think what a lot of players are looking for is like they want to be able to share their interest with like their wife and be able to talk about how the regional went or something.
But you can't give her a Mitsurugi Yummy deck.
Yeah, but it's like that's not really going to work. And so for me, I think that finding isolated formats is the key.
And control decks. That also is I find that like heavy control decks are typically a good gateway into the more competitive side of Yu-Gi-Oh! I've seen, now this is anecdotal from watching a lot of outside streamers end up taking to Yu-Gi-Oh! Trap Tricks is a good
Trap
gateway.
Tricks is super popular.
Labyrinth is another good gateway.
Yep.
And I had another one and I forgot it.
But no, those
Eldritch. Another
Eldritch.
good gateway.
Those tend to be really good ones. It's actually why I kind of suggested even like a Fire King sort of thing, because these decks have a lot of depth. It's even better if you can move towards that Trap Tricks and Eldritch side of things, because those are more reactive in nature. Mm-hmm. So it doesn't put the onus on them to remember this fucking long combo. Because that's like so much of what you described exactly, like Yu-Gi-Oh! Where it's like, before you can even like play, you gotta understand all these rules, and then you also are expected to like know this like 20 special summons combo that's got all these steps, and you do this first. And give the SO, whoever that is, give them a deck where they can kind of just like look at the thing that you just summoned, read it, assess if it's a threat, and be like, okay, I'm going to use my bottomless trap hole on that because they're playing a Trap Tricks deck, or like they're going to use their Eldritch removal on that. Let them kind of just respond to what's going on. And that's why those decks, I think, are so popular. They slow the pace down. They're not just like flipping a floodgate, but it cools things off, I think, a bit. Yes, no?
I guess you could include Paleo in there too to some degree. Paleo's fallen off pretty substantially.
So yeah, that's kind of where I would land on it. I think just to add a quick extra thing is maybe like Speed Duel could be fun too. Like you could kind of just like, if you can still find those Speed Duel products, like the little boxed ones.
Keep them things on me.
I think that could be a really fun one, because if you do enjoy maybe watching the anime together, then you get to still use like the skill cards. The power level's really low. True. The games go quick. Like not in a like I lock you out way, but just in a like you quickly kind of get to your win con and summon your Blackluster Soldier, whatever.
You can even kind of build your own Genesis format. You know, you can't, your SO will not want to build a like specifically pointed Yu-Gi-Oh deck, but you can build a deck for them. Mm-hmm. And Genesis does, as long as you're not trying to compete in Genesis, it does control the power level of the game like pretty decently.
I think if I had to give a thesis, it'd be, turn Yu-Gi-Oh into a board game experience for the two of you. A game that like you can pull it out of the shelf when you want to play Yu-Gi-Oh, not like this is the full-time job of like keeping up with it all, because it's very tough. Some time ago, you guys got a 1-star rating from a person who claims to love y'all's podcast but was unhappy with an episode where they felt y'all complained too much about modern Yu-Gi-Oh. So my question is, what merits a 1-star review in your opinion? There's nothing wrong with disliking a topic, but does that deserve a 1-star review for an overall experience? So this, I guess, isn't like as directly Yu-Gi-Oh related,
Yeah,
but certainly a lot to say.
Our podcast related.
I will put this. Okay, I'll posit this question to you.
Okay.
What would make you rate something? We won't even say just a podcast, but I guess for the sake of this, we'll say a podcast. What's a 1-star to you with like a piece of media you've consumed?
If it's something that's wholly unreliable, if I consume a piece of media that purports that the sky is purple today, and I look up and the sky is still blue, that's a 1-star to me. If you're pushing like misinformation and lies, that's 1-star media to me. If someone says an opinion I don't like, I'm not going to, I don't know if I'm going to leave a review. More so, I'll just turn it off.
See, now we're getting, I like that we're like cutting straight to the heart of the matter, because that's exactly what I was going to talk about. So I'm a person who, like, in a general sense, this applies like to movies and games and stuff, I'll give like lower reviews on like technical things. Like, I think if for a podcast, for instance, if the audio quality was so bad that like I could not hear, like, you know, audio's peaking all the time and like, you know, that sort of thing, and it's like choppily edited or something, like I would, you know, knock off stars for that. Maybe not even a 1-star, but like it might be lower, it might be like a 3-star. But on the other hand, I think that disagreeing about points, as long as the points made aren't, like you said, like lies, like I'm telling you to, you know, drink bleach to cure this disease, right? It's
Who would say such a thing?
Yeah, just an example I pulled out of thin air. If I disagree with stuff, I tend to, I almost won't even make it far enough in the, like, you know, like if someone just says some things that I don't really like, it's like what you said. I kind of tend to just not.
I mean, yeah, really. Well, I report it to YouTube, sure, but like,
yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's right.
That is a joke.
But yeah, like I don't know. I think that's like a lesson that more people on the internet, if it's up to me, should take to heart. Is like, if you don't like something, it's generally better to kind of just move on. Like, don't.
That's for your own mental.
For your own mental health, like, just don't like engage, because I think it's become it's alluring, and almost I even say like seductive to find something that kind of upsets you and like activates these emotions and like, you know, and feel like you need to police it and like tell this person about themselves and like, here's why you're wrong and like this is stupid. And on one hand, it's fine to want to do it. I don't think that it's in the media landscape. I don't think it's productive.
But at the same time, it's your right as a consumer of media to want to review based on kind of whatever your feelings are on the matter. If you believe that what someone said in a piece of media is so offensive, or you disagree with them so strongly, I mean, a 1-star review does say you were dissatisfied with the product. In that way, the 1-star review is still warranted because in your mind, this was a 1-star product.
Yeah.
But I think that's short. That's a very like kind of limited way to look at it. A review is forever, but if your issue is like one specific story or take, then it's like, well, I don't think you should review the entire like piece of media as 1-star. It's if you really have an issue with one part of it,
I think.
But
yeah, well, so there's two things I'm going to say about this as well. So the first is that I remember we got a comment a few weeks ago from a listener. I don't know if they're still listening, but they said that they were like, I'm no longer going to be listening to this podcast. For a handful of reasons that they had. I won't go into detail about them. They said that. Some of them are pretty personal to them. And, you know, they just felt that, like, I can't, in good faith, continue listening because, like, I guess some of the stances or angles you have on these things, you know, upset me.
We're very manospheric here.
Yeah, that's right. No, but in all seriousness, you know, and they went into a lot of detail about it. And part of me was like, I'm so mad, like, that you saying that I'm not right about this. Like, that was kind of, that's like that emotion that's supposed to get activated.
Anybody who's ever created anything on the internet, the knee-jerk feeling.
Yeah, the knee-jerk, like you're angry at a comment.
I'm right, you're wrong.
But truthfully speaking, I think that was the most mature decision that person can make.
Right.
Because, like, sometimes it's just like, yeah, if you are finding that this isn't, improving your life, improving your just quality of, like, it's not making you feel good to listen to this.
At a bare minimum, if it's not entertaining to you.
Yeah, if it's not entertaining and you're not enjoying it, just leave it.
Divest.
Divest. It is okay to...
But don't stop being a channel member. We don't mean divest like that.
Yeah, please keep paying.
Yeah, do that.
Please keep paying. No, but yeah, like, it's okay to kind of just like let go and move on with your life because the internet moves fast. A lot's going on all the time. There are too many things to be getting on with. Like, if you want to be angry every day, you can find so much. Like,
you don't need the only podcast on the internet to add to that.
Yeah. So I respected that person. And the second thing that I'll say is coming from the angle of the creator side of it, I think we can kind of both agree. It can make like receiving feedback difficult. Earlier, the very first question of the podcast, we were talking about like, when people have the negative reviews or they review bomb things or like just shout about, I don't like Shadowverse or whatever other game online. From the point of view of like a developer, or in our case, like the content creator, it can sort of be tough to sort out like the difference, because if one person gives a 1-star review because of like what you said, where it's just like, okay, this podcast was like untruthful, or like maybe it was like a technical issue that I had with it, but then another person gives 1-star reviews because I just don't like your take on Ghost Tricks. You said they suck, and I like Ghost Tricks, and like I'm giving a 1.
But Ghost Tricks do suck.
It's a like it's a 1-star because of a kind of more like an emotionally charged, just personal thing. If I'm like a dev on Steam and those are both 1-star reviews or whatever, it's kind of hard to like how do you weight those things, and like it can make it really tough. We've had times where, Alec and I have like talked about a certain comment that's like a piece of criticism, and it's like, is this person being like...
Is it genuine?
Is it genuine? Is it like, are they just sort of just like saying something? I don't know. Like
sometimes a person has a genuine criticism, but because of the heat of moment and the passion, they end up typing something that does not actually come across genuine anymore. And so...
Yeah.
At that point, it's like, well, now I don't even want to look at this. I don't want to like give this any due because it doesn't come off as a genuine comment, even if it came from a genuine place. It's the world of like feedback's
tough,
difficult, especially because the podcast, these videos, we are the product. So when you criticize the podcast, it is criticizing us. And we can't always separate the us that's on camera from the real us on the inside.
I know.
That wasn't grammatically correct.
Oh, no, I know what you mean.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, you're right. Like I've had days legitimately where like if I'm in a bad state of mind, it is not the time to be looking at YouTube comments. It is not the time to read them. If you're like ever having I'm having a bad day because it's something not YouTube related, or like, it's something personal, whatever. And like I go to see YouTube comments and like someone is saying something and they're being sarcastic and like joking and they're on my side, but I read the comment too fast. I'm not in a good mood. I'll read it as like, oh, they're being like snarky and mean, and like I'll say something. It's like it's crazy. Yeah, you got to be careful with feedback. Is a difficult thing.
Yeah.
In the same vein as the new Pokemon theme park being introduced in Japan, do you guys feel like Yu-Gi-Oh fans would be inclined to participate in a Duelist Kingdom style tournament with starships, eliminations, and cards of the era in a remote location? Granted, unlikely that $3 million is the grand prize, but I'm sure a Millennium puzzle-shaped air fryer could be arranged. What do you think?
I'd play for that.
You'd be in?
I think that'd go crazy. I think any Yu-Gi-Oh tournament that even slightly mirrors the anime would draw an intense amount of interest from like current Yu-Gi-Oh players and past ones.
I think you'd suddenly reactivate a lot of like Yu-Gi boomers. I mean, like imagine. So, do you think this should be like a theme park style attraction, or are you
wouldn't make enough money?
Yeah, that's what I was going to say is I think a theme park would not be super sustainable. Like, I don't know that it would get the day-to-day business.
But like a pop-up Battle City installation.
Yes.
That's different.
Pop-up Battle City sounds killer. Or even like, maybe like a cruise. Because at first I thought that'd be kind of stupid, but like I saw there's a Magic the Gathering cruise, and it's existed for like many years.
That's because they're insane. We haven't. The Yu-Gi-Oh community has not proven to be able to spend that much money on Yu-Gi-Oh.
That's true.
I'm not saying we wouldn't. There's just not a precedent for it. So it would be extremely risky for Konami to sponsor something like that. Because, like...
Well, I will say, if it's only like one cruise, maybe they could do it as a test run.
I mean, because it could be fun. I think there would be a lot of interest.
To Duelist
but
Kingdom.
Like, a cruise ain't cheap now. And if it's a branded, like, Yu-Gi-Oh cruise, that's definitely not cheap.
I mean, I think, like, you could sort of frame it as, like, you know, it's a boat to Duelist Kingdom, and that's kind of like how they, like, got there in the anime, and they would get, like, their rooms, like, people could just duel, and it'd be expensive, but I mean, we're kind of hitting that demographic now in terms of age.
You have to duel to get your room to begin with.
Yeah, that's what happened with
If you
Rex
lose,
and
you sleep at the bottom of the ship.
And also, like, people throw cards off the boat.
Oh,
like,
they're gonna have to ban that.
Yeah,
that wouldn't be acceptable.
But I don't know. I think that there could be something there. How much? I don't really know like that much about the cost of cruises. Like, I know some cheaper ones can be like a few $100. Like, if you get like the really kind of budget ones.
This would have to be.
But I imagine that this would
have to be at the upper end of hundreds, and we're talking like 4 digits likely.
No, I will say though, a lot of Yu-Gi-Oh players, we're kind of getting into the demographic now where I think more people have that income. Like, more people.
Have you seen the economy?
Yeah, in this economy, no. But, like, you know, the reason why I think Magic is able to do it is because, like, a lot of Magic players are, like, married and have kids and, like, jobs.
Yeah, but a lot of them was married before things went to hell.
That's true.
They old.
So you'd go to this, though, like...
I would...
Or you'd go to the pop-up.
I would try my darndest, but I am not made of money. And, like, a Yu-Gi-Oh cruise song could be very expensive.
Yeah, I think there'd be some fun to be had, though, so... The idea is very good. Like, I think that not a theme park. I don't think that it has enough cultural, like, power to be a
theme parks are crazy expensive. I don't think you could pull that one.
But yeah, like a cruise or as you said, a pop-up would be cool.
Would Yu-Gi-Oh be able to copy Transformation? That's the double-sided cards in Magic the Gathering.
Oh, okay.
They list this card of an example. The Vario Bushi Tenderfoot, basically a normal soldier able to transform into a way better samurai by killing a creature and rotation of the card. You turn it upside down to read a different text box.
Oh, okay.
I have seen that card.
Oh, I didn't know. Okay, I knew Magic had 2-sided cards. I did not know they also have cards that you like.
Yeah, Magic's weird. They have cards that you flip to change what it is. They have cards you turn like 90, not 90 degrees, or like 180 degrees. And they have cards where it's 2 cards side by side on one card. It's a wild west of card
So they're asking
design.
if Yu-Gi-Oh could do such a thing?
Okay, so the short answer is absolutely not. Our tournament scene would implode if we start.
Yeah, this game's way too anal.
But if we were just trying to have fun with it, right?
Yeah, to entertain the question for fun.
Because Yu-Gi-Oh has been like waiting for its next kind of big summoning type. If there were a feasible way to like transform cards in Yu-Gi-Oh, that could be a way to introduce a new summoning type without adding anything to the extra deck. Like, it could be very interesting. I just don't know how we would do it.
Yeah, practicality aside, some of the applications I think of are like Weevil's Insect Queen came to mind for me, or like Insect Queen with like the eggs.
You talking about Larva Moth?
Larva Moth and like Ultimate Great Moth.
Yeah.
That was just for some reason that popped into my head as something that would be really cool if it was like, you know, it like turns over or something.
Kind of like LV monsters, but they usually had more than just one transformation.
Yeah, like I think LV monsters, that kind of sounds cool. Gemini even, like just it flips over. Like,
I still think how Gemini should have worked is there's a plain vanilla card, and when you normal summon it again, you like just place the effect text on it.
Do you remember?
Like the separate thing.
Do you remember when we did the like Yu-Gi-Oh anime made Battle City decks and the Wing Dragon of Ra?
Oh, how could I forget?
The Wing Dragon of Ra had its effect on a separate like card because it was so fucking long.
It's the anime version of Winged Dragon of Ra, which had like 30 million different effects. And so the guy who made the anime card, they put the hieroglyphics on the actual card, and then you had a separate full Yu-Gi-Oh card that was just Ra's effects.
Yeah, like I think that could be cool in a casual way. Like obviously the real life card game, just people are it's too airtight and like weird about effects and like placements on mats and stuff. I think people wouldn't really like, and like sleeves. But man, for a casual thing, color me interested.
Like right? I think it could be cool, and because it does exist in Magic the Gathering, there is competitive precedent for managing cards of that nature. Yu-Gi-Oh could adopt rules like it to be able to have cards you flip. It's just that it would be a pain point for the Yu-Gi-Oh community. It would not go easily. Since Konami already abbreviates attack, defense, and graveyard and card text, do you think they should also be abbreviating quick effect once per turn and anything else that takes up unnecessary space, which further minimizes the size of the text?
Okay, so I have thoughts on this.
I really want to say yes, because anything that can help reduce the amount of space or amount of text on a Yu-Gi-Oh card, I'm for. It's just the earlier abbreviations are easy. Attack, defense. There's not much that those abbreviations that they use could mean otherwise.
Right.
So I think it's fine. Graveyard is actually a bit of a stretch, because if you weren't here for when it changed initially, GY doesn't actually mean anything to anybody.
I mean, yeah, I guess.
So but luckily GY can't really mean too many different things, so it's fine. I think we run into an issue with like quick effect and like once per turn.
Yeah.
Cuz like quick effect, QE, it's like GY, where if you're there when it changes, it's fine. But if you're an outsider coming in, you're wondering why your cards say GY and QE on them.
Yeah, and also like once per turn, we like OPT, and that would be very like.
I feel like that can mean a few different things.
Okay, so there's like there's the quick basic thing that I have with this, which is that I do think like Yu-Gi-Oh needs to probably try to like incorporate what the OCG does, where they maybe put like numbers beside each thing that is a separate effect on a card, because that just helps with like literal visual clarity for me.
Organization.
Like it's organization, bullet points, something. We get bullet points on certain cards in the TCG where it's like choose which to apply or like, you know, whatever. But like it's not, I think that just more use of that would be cool. The reason though why I don't think that we can necessarily use like once per turn, for instance, is because Yu-Gi-Oh is a fucking lawyer's game where you have to read legalese every time you breathe. Once per turn can mean a lot of things. There's so many different types, like variations on once per turn. There is once per, like Lone Fire Blossom. Once per turn, you can do this effect. So that one copy on the field at the time can use its effect once per turn. But then there's also like the hard once per turn that's on many cards these days, which is like you can only activate the effect of Kashtira Fenrir once per turn. So multiple copies on the field, still only one can use its effect. But it goes deeper because there's also like you can only activate one effect of this card per turn and only once that turn. So it's like you have two choices of effects. A lot of like spells and traps are getting this now. And like, so that's kind of different. Then there's the spells and traps that are the opposite, like say Yummy Surprise, where there are multiple effects you can pick from each time you activate the card. And you can only use each one once, but you can activate Yummy Surprise multiple times per turn. Then there are cards like Masquerade or Mirror Jade or whatever, the Branded Dragon, where it can only use its effect like once every other turn, but that only applies to that one copy of the card. So if the same Mirror Jade leaves the field and comes back, it can use its effect again, or if it's like a different copy or whatever. And then it like still gets deeper because and I could go on. I really could go on forever. There are cards that are like once while this card is face up on the field, like Barone and its negation. Yep. So unfortunately, just the term once per turn, abbreviating it to like OPT,
it just requires the context.
Yeah, and it sucks because all of those little nuances are built into the balance of the cards. So unfortunately, there's just not like an easy shorthand unless you want to start doing things like OPTA or OPTB. Like this is once per turn A. This is like type A once per turn. That's type B. And then
now you need a legend to read a Yu-Gi-Oh card.
So it just, I hate it, but it's just how it is. Like, there's even things like, I wish that, I think of like those cards that say, like, neither player can activate cards or effects in response to Super Poly, right?
Right.
But there's also Dark Void or No More where it's just neither player can activate monster effects in response to it.
Yep.
So, like, would those be two different variants on the same keyword? Because if you're starting to add variants to the keywords, then it's like you said, now it's just jargon soup. Like, it almost becomes better that Yu-Gi-Oh! Is at least trying to just use descriptive English, even if the descriptive English runs into its own problems.
I think what we should do is just make the text box bigger. And you might ask yourself, well, how can we make it bigger? Check this out, guys. Every Yu-Gi-Oh card has a little door you unfold. And so you have double the amount of text space.
You know what's funny? This is like the last question. It's like you summon the card and you turn it over.
We're getting more card artwork? No, you turn it for more text.
That'd be so funny.
That's
like
dark.
When you summon the card and like you let your opponent kind of like see the art. Like, okay, Ray's here or whatever, like Sky Striker Ray's here. And then you'll never see the art again because now you turn it around.
Or check this out. You ever have one of those pop-up books that have all the little gimmicks to make pictures move and stuff? So you put every card has a little wheel that you kind of scroll it down, and then the rest of the text comes out the bottom of the card.
Oh my god! No, but like I know what you mean.
Like it feels like that's where we're headed with this game. Because goddamn, we done found a way to shrink that text, and we just cram it all in that little text box.
Oh my god, no. Okay, next question. I play bad decks built in bad ways and misplay a ton. What should I work on first? Jesus Christ.
How dare you with this question?
Okay, what should they work on first, Alec, between these two things?
All right, check it out. So the number one thing is you shouldn't worry about misplays if you built your decks bad. You can't play properly if your deck is built poorly.
Okay.
That is just, but like bad deck is in the eye of the beholder, right?
Yeah.
Like I can play a yummy deck, but just because it's a good deck doesn't mean it's good for me, because I don't like playing combos. So I think bad deck is suggestive. Wow, a bad deck is subjective, and your misplays are likely tied to your badly built deck. So I think that's actually where you have to start. Is if you're gonna play a bad deck, at least build it to the best of your ability. I mean, there's an enthusiast for about every single archetype in Yu-Gi-Oh! And that's impressive because, well, Yu-Gi-Oh! Has so many archetypes, and there's a way to optimize just about any strategy for the modern day. I think that's where you start. Mm-hmm. Make your bad deck as good as it possibly can be.
Okay.
That's my first step.
All right. I think this is definitely one of those, like, it's like a dual diagnosis, as they call it in the healthcare industry, where, like, say that you are depressed and you're an alcoholic. Are you an alcoholic because you're depressed, or are you depressed because you're an alcoholic?
Neither.
And, there's a lot of different ways people view these things, but at the end of the day, you will have to kind of you'll have to tackle both. Like, if you just kind of try to, like, solve one, the other one will get in the way. So the way that I see this is my solution is not to worry too much about like the deck part per se. If you can find like better versions of your deck list, that can be like a way to fast track that, right? Like I'm trying to build this archetype. Just go online and you can copy some basic sort of skeleton lists to get that out of the way. I think read your damn cards. I promise you.
No.
Yeah.
Like, you've already crossed my one line.
I will not read them. No, but like I say that because we got into this a little bit in a podcast episode a while back, where I truly think a lot of players are playing this game and just have no clue what's going on. Like, I don't think that they really actually know like Alex pointing to himself. I don't think that they know how chains work. I don't think people know how like ignition effect priority works. I think a lot of people don't know how like resolving effects and forming chain links actually like works. And at a base level, I think a lot of people don't actually know how their cards work. And so I go to locals and I even go to regionals and I see people just like playing cards, just activating stuff and kind of resolving stuff. Almost it feels like just as it's convenient at random. Like, I will put down Book of Eclipse. This is an easy example I use a lot. And people will already start like flipping their cards face down. And it's like, no, like we're not resolving Book of Eclipse yet.
But Paul, it's Yu-Gi-Oh! It's freeform jazz.
Yeah,
There's no rules to this. You just throw some cards down, pick some cards up, and then you win or you lose.
And so in that example,
that was sarcasm.
Yeah, in that example with Book of Eclipse, read the cards and a card got activated. It is not resolved yet. Just an effect was activated, right? When that effect resolves is when like stuff starts changing, things start moving, like whatever is getting applied. Because if you just are the type of person where like a card gets activated and you just start like picking up your deck to search, or whatever, like your opponent might have responses, and if they don't have responses, then you get chances to respond to your things. And only once like everything's been confirmed, then start resolving the effects. And like read it carefully. Read Lightning Storm. Lightning Storm doesn't say like destroy everything. It says destroy all attack position monsters on your opponent's side of the field, or destroy all like cards and spell and traps that your opponent controls. Like make sure that
Lightning Storm is a board wipe. I wipe the board.
Yeah, why I wipe the board? And it's like no, you have to. I know it sounds really nitpicky, but just from the last question we were answering, Yu-Gi-Oh's a nitpicky game. It is a nitpicky game, and if you just think of everything like with the once per turn example as just like, oh, these are all once per turns. No, there's a lot of different once per turns. Read the cards that you have and make sure that you understand like what they're doing. Because if you don't do that, then you'll never really know how Yu-Gi-Oh! Is being played. You'll kind of have this general idea of kind of what stuff does, but even when chains are resolving, and this has come up so much more for me now, in a format with like Yummy and Draco Tail and all that stuff, like sometimes there will be like multiple search effects happening in a chain, and like Alex in chain link 2, and then I'm in chain link 3, and then he's searching again in chain link 4.
And 5.
As convenient as it might be for him to just pick up his deck and like search both cards, that's not actually procedurally correct. If you have a search in like chain link 4, then you search. Then I'm in chain link 3 and then I search after knowing what you searched for chain link 4. And then in chain link 2, you'll search the other thing. And it might seem like that's tedious, and it is, but it affects like everything, like choices and the way the board ends up. Like,
I don't think the word tedious should ever be used in card games. Card games are inherently tedious. Mm-hmm. So it's like if you ever feel the need to say something in a card game is tedious, you probably shouldn't be playing.
And if you want the consolidated version of advice from me, it's actually play Master Duel. It will help you a lot with that.
Or it helps you avoid all that.
Yeah. Actually, I don't even think it, like, it's funny. If you
I've played many Master Duel games where I just kind of click whatever's glowing, and then I kind of close my eyes and things happen.
I know a lot of people do approach Master Duel that way. I think that even if you do it that way, you will actually learn to get better with how stuff works.
You will not make me learn.
Yeah, Alec is like, I refuse to.
I won't read my cards. I will not pay attention to how they resolve.
But yeah, just learning the way that the game operates can help with a lot of those other problems. So that is what I would say is important. What's our next question?
There is too much consistency in Yu-Gi-Oh! And I think it's to its detriment. I think it's to its detriment. I completely misread that. Do you think luck can ever play a large part in the meta? Maybe some extremely broken spells tied to a coin flip or die roll, or a la Cup of Ace, but much stronger? Oh, man. All right, check it out. All right, hear me out. Absolutely not. Look. Card games are supposed to be inherently luck-based, but the luck is supposed to be tied to the random shuffle of the cards. That's what's supposed to be random about card games. Fun fact, one of the things I hate the most about the Pokemon TCG is their proclivity for like coin flips.
Oh, they love their coin flips in Pokemon.
I hate relying on now I know I play a lot of Time Wizard. Pretty much any chance I get I play Time Wizard. But that's because it's a one-off thing and I think it's fun. It's fun when it's one-off. I do not like extra randomness in my card games consistently. If the Yu-Gi-Oh card game had like 17 different staple Time Wizard like cards, I would rip my hair out. And I don't have a lot of it.
I also think that these cards will probably never have a place in competition because as a competitor playing a card game, your goal is actually to reduce variance as much as you possibly can. That's just the idea is like, you're going to have some variance in what you draw. And that's about the most people want to deal with, right? Like if you're going to have to rely on Cup of Ace for your draw power, there's going to be times when it just doesn't work and you will be frustrated because nothing makes you angrier than like not feeling like the decision was in your hands. Like your card didn't even do what it like was put in your deck to do. Right? Like
the randomness in card games is about flexibility. You don't know what the next card on top of your deck is, so you have to be flexible in predicting what you might see and how you'll use it. Traditionally, across all card games, you don't actually rely on your deck really being random.
Exactly.
It's a probability thing. You're always trying to reduce or increase the probability in your own favor.
Sorry.
You want to try to guess the future of the deck of cards as much as humanly possible. You don't want to truly be subject to randomness. Could you imagine that in Yu-Gi-Oh, like every time you play a card, you then have to like shuffle like your hand and your deck and then draw a bunch of new cards?
Yeah, I think that it's something that narratively is fun. Like in your head, it sounds like, you can create some very tense situations. Like Joey when he had to, like Graceful Dice and Skull Dice and like Time Wizard. It makes for like tension if you're watching a duel on like TV, right? But if you're the person sitting at that table, that would piss you the fuck off. Like to be having like put the fate of the game onto like die rolls and coin flips, because you'll feel like you've outplayed your opponent right up until the very end, and then like a coin flip. Like I know people joke about like, you guys are a coin flip game. No, I'm talking about literally you flip a coin and it would just decide things.
I think it's fine if the game is tactical and skillful and at the very end your opponent busts you with something that requires a coin flip. I think that's okay. It's bullshit, but it's okay. Mm-hmm. What I have an issue with is the idea that there would be these random chance things happening throughout the entirety of the game, because that creates a very significant high roll, low roll problem.
Yeah.
If we're consistently playing cards like Cup of Aces, it's the only like draw power in Yu-Gi-Oh, and then we're playing like other cards that gain you more advantage by like just rolling the right number on die or flipping coins. What ends up happening is your opponent like rolls a 6 every single time they touch their die for a game, and their Cup of Aces hit every time they play it, and then yours are like 50-50. It's like you just lose, because in card games, card advantage is
like
paramount.
Yeah.
And if your opponent just high rolls you because they hit on everything, it feels terrible.
That's the thing, is like that feeling of the random wonder and whimsy it's nice on paper, but like try losing to it a few times in a row and tell me if you still like it. Like, and I'm serious about that. Like it's fun when it happens, and like it, again, narratively, I think it's like it can make for an exciting memory, right? Like Alec and I had a really epic duel, and it got decided by Time Wizard. See Retro Rivals. But like I think that if that was like how it just always was, it would probably push a lot of people away from a game. Is if it just don't like, because there are games you can play where random chance is meant to be the appeal, of like literally, okay, we're just gonna play like this rock paper scissors, right, like or whatever.
We're gonna play Monopoly.
Sure, but with Yu-Gi-Oh, like, there's tournaments, you paid a lot of money, you traveled. You want your losses to be on the back of like either your incorrect decisions or like, your opponent's cards that they chose to put in their deck functioned in a way that beat you. That's fine, but like the randomness, I think, it gets unattractive.
See, and the way it works in Yu-Gi-Oh currently, I have no problem with. Technically, someone could throw in 3 copies of Cup of Aces in their deck, even in a modern deck. And if when they activate that card, they hit every time, Cup of Aces now becomes broken because your opponent's just getting like free card advantage that you don't have access to. But they had to take a very supreme risk to even get that card advantage. It's not worth it in the modern day, but technically someone could do that to you.
Yeah, I think that is the core appeal. That the sort of person probably who's asking this question is like the idea that if a person wanted to take that risk and run 3 Cup of Ace as a surrogate pot of greed in their deck, nothing's stopping them from doing so.
Yeah, I don't mind anybody doing that in the modern form of Yu-Gi-Oh! If you want to run as many of those chance-based cards in your deck as you want right now, sure, I'll still win because probability says half those cards are going to hit and the other half aren't, and that's great.
Yeah.
My deck hits 100% of the time.
Yeah, it's also funny too because like even if you try to like kind of power these cards, like the best you could do is maybe power the cards up a lot, where getting heads results in some exorbitant benefit and getting tails is just kind of a middling thing.
At that point, are you really playing?
People would play that. Like we've seen instances of that. Like Sixth Sense is kind of an example of like
True.
a card where it's not there's not really like a bad effect per se, but that had to get banned because like then there's like just a point where the randomness kind of took a back seat to the fact that it is beneficial heavily regardless, and now it's just a broken card.
I mean, that's why at least in Yu-Gi-Oh! They have to be feast or famine. The card has to give you everything or give you absolutely nothing and hurt you for it. Look at Time Wizard, right? It's not just that he might miss blowing up your opponent's board, but he'll blow up your board and burn you, which is so disrespectful.
Yeah. Old Yu-Gi-Oh! Loved to do that with those effects. All right, do you think TCGs are falling out of fashion with youth? No offense to any of the friends we all have at our LGS, but TCGs are struggling to hold people under 25 these days, and I feel like I'm out of place sometimes being a younger player, and I never meet anyone my age who plays.
That's because kids can't read.
Yeah, that's right. They're too TikTok build. No, I have a lot to say about this, though. But what about you? You feel like...
The truth is, TCGs were a fad. And I say that in past tense because the fad kind of, for the most part, has already passed. In the early 2000s, like late 90s, early 2000s, we had this big TCG fad. A lot of it was spurred on by like the Pokemon TCG and Magic the Gathering, where at one point everybody wanted a card game to go with their IP. And we were all kind of raised in this age where card games did exist. If you had any amount of interest in something, it likely had a card game. And if you wanted to play card games, well, you're in luck. There were plenty to choose from. And we all just kind of grew up still liking TCGs, which is why we still play them. But that fad did end. And I mean, and when I say that, look at how many TCGs come out specifically aiming for that, like
nostalgia guy.
I'm looking at that 12-year-old demographic. We were all like young, like almost.
Oh, you're talking about in that period of time.
But now card games don't release looking at actual children anymore.
Yeah,
they still look at us because we were a part of the fad.
Yeah, absolutely.
But the fad passed.
That's what I was going to say too. I think that what's effectively happened is card games, you are right, were sort of a fad. Late 90s, early 2000s, card games were a thing that were marketed to kids and like teens of that age. And like adults too, nothing was stopping them from playing. But basically, card games were a pop culture thing. What card games are now is largely they release, but it's IPs that speak mostly to people above 25, above 30, right? Like you're getting an IP that you've maybe liked for a long time, like One Piece, but it was something that you really like kind of liked as a kid. And so, like you said, it's not really targeting what kids like these days, because I think what kids like these days isn't the medium through which to capture it, if that almost makes sense. Like, I think a lot of kids are like maybe playing Fortnite and stuff on their Switch. I'm just gonna take a guess here. I don't know what kids play.
We're not making TCGs of the IPs that kids today
would be
readily
watching.
Consume. And to be clear, I have no idea what kids watch. I don't get it. I feel like kids mostly just watch what adults watch. I don't know.
That's a whole other. But yeah,
Paw Patrol. Do we have a Paw Patrol TCG?
Maybe there is. I don't know.
I don't know what age you're supposed to stop watching Paw Patrol at.
But when I look at things like Magic the Gathering's Universes Beyond collabs, they all kind of have something in common.
Yeah,
it's what this guy in his like early 30s, reminisce about.
Yeah,
that's really all it is. Like, because that's what sells. It's a demographic that's got the money now to spend on having their childhood resold back to them. Mm-hmm. And really, if I take it a step further, I think kids have been priced out in many cases. Like, the way that card games are consumed now. I watched a video earlier today about like there was another fight in a Costco over Pokemon cards or something, and now they're having to hide them behind. I mean, you know what I mean? Like, you
gotta hide them behind something.
Yeah, they're like they're hidden. They're hidden behind bars.
You gotta hide them behind like diapers in the baby section.
Yeah, that wouldn't get any adults there. They wouldn't know their responsibility.
Like, whoa, what's this? I don't want to be over here.
But yeah, like, I mean, what I see a lot is basically like kids can't afford to buy boxes. And something that you have pointed out many, many episodes of this podcast ago is that kids do not get the opportunity to enjoy card games in the same way that we got to enjoy card games when we were kids.
Nope.
Where things weren't just being like completely like just shoveled off shelves to be resold on eBay. Like, I could go into a Walmart and find a pack of Pokemon cards. I could go into a Walmart and find a pack of whatever.
I wish a kid would try and buy like a pack, like a pack of like Gundam cards. Good luck, kid.
Yeah, it's just not easy, and like I hate that. I don't like that that's the reality that we're in. I think that if you are a younger person and you're in card games right now, I mean, it could mean many things, but one of my base assumptions is that you are probably fortunate that you have, I guess, like some disposable income. Like maybe you're a college age kid and it's not like there's not too many things you have to pay for right now in your life. So you can kind of spend it on card games, but I don't see a world where like an 11-year-old can get into like trading cards without some serious help.
I mean, it's difficult. I mean, there's a lot of kids who are into like the Pokemon TCG, and that's mostly because of the social media kind of frenzy around the Pokemon TCG during the early 2020s. But that doesn't mean it's easy to actually get the cards. I mean, I've seen the lengths at which Pokemon like parents have to fight to get the kids the cards that they want. Yeah, which is you kind of got to go to World War III just to get them.
Yeah, and I mean,
not World War III. I meant Target. My bad.
One and the same, right? So yeah, I don't know. As far as like a feeling out of place at your LGS, I don't know how old you are. The person asking the question is.
Are you Gen Z or Gen Alpha?
Yeah, because you're Gen Alpha.
Good luck.
I can't help you. I don't really know what to say. If you're Gen Z, making friends with some people in their 30s.
Just gotta make friends with some old people. We
don't bite.
It's like, Paul, you're Gen Z too.
I know, but I'm like, anyway. Yeah, so.
All right. I will take our last question.
Ooh.
Hey guys, Brandon here. I'd like to hear a discussion about how to make types, levels, attributes more mechanically interesting and meaningful. For example, fire can be changed to a null type in order to prevent a negation. Water can become null to prevent destruction. Wind can become earth to prevent leaving the field, not as a response, but something that happens during resolution. Probably break the game, but just as a few examples. Generally, I just feel like types and attributes are not as meaningful as a semicolon printed on the card. Facts. Mm-hmm. Lastly, with levels, aside from normal summons, exes, synchro, and pendulum, what does level even matter? More meaningful than attributes and types, but still IDK. It's such a big part of the Yugioh of the card, but matters much less than initial preconceptions of Yu-Gi-Oh?
Dude, this is a juicy question. You and I had this conversation not too long ago. Like, where I was saying something about how, like, so what the fuck does a level matter? Like, because, like, okay, there are thresholds where it matters. Like, once you hit 5, you attribute 1, and once you hit 7, you attribute 2. But, like, other than that, the level exists only as, like, a quality for your Xyz summon or your Synchro summon, but, like, it doesn't inherently do anything. And I was always saying how, like, a level 1 monster with 2,000 attack is no different than, like, a level 4 monster with 2,000 attack. Because functionally,
we used to have more cards that specifically interacted with levels. We had some good stuff because of synchros. Like we had like Level Eater that could it special summon itself by eating a level
or something. Yeah.
We have destruction effects like 4-star Ladybug of Doom just blowing up all level 4s on the board because level 4 was the most powerful normal or easy normal summons you could have in a deck at the time.
I'll tell you something I missed just in that vein, like level limit area B and stuff.
Level
limit area
limits.
A even.
Gravity Bind.
Yeah. I mean, I think that those, as annoying as those cards can be sometimes, I think that those were fun because like they made the level matter. Like if you had a deck of level 3 monsters that all had like high attack, like Hunter Dragon, right? Or something like that, like 17, and then you were playing like level limit area B to force your opponent's monsters to defense, but you still have like weaker monsters that can sneak under that and still get to attack, and your opponent's level 4 monsters are put into defense where they might only have like on average a lot lower defense than attack, then that's a strategy that plays to the strengths of like your levels. But I don't know that exists anymore, and so I do.
I mean, it's just there's too many ways around levels now. I mean, Xyz monsters have ranks, right? Link monsters don't have. They have like link ratings, right?
Yeah, which is like, just their own thing.
And the old rules of what dictated the level of monster have now changed. It used to be that outside of a few anime cards, for the most part, the strength, the attack and defense of a card lined up like pretty well with whatever its level was. Yeah. And then only the DM era anime cards completely broke those rules. But now it's like, well, level 1's actually stupidly strong. So
yeah,
like
it's funny. Yeah, the level 1 cards in Yu-Gi-Oh are often just the best things. Snake Eye Ash.
It's like, do they often have like 0 attack? Sure, but those effects go crazy.
The effects go crazy. Yeah.
They enable you to do like they enabled like Link Karibo. They let you make rank 1s, like,
and they oftentimes they're given like these extremely strong, like this can tribute itself from the field, like a Samsara D Lotus type.
Oh, can't forget you can summon them off of 1-for-1.
Yeah, and like do all this stuff. I think it's actually an example of like how, and we're gonna get into a little bit of this with the attribute thing you mentioned, of how like Yu-Gi-Oh just as a game, when Kazuki Takahashi, I think, was like designing just the dual monsters kind of gimmick for the manga, which was not actually designed to kind of be like this long-term thing.
No, I mean,
I think back then, I look at the cards like, I think the old video games sort of got into the level stuff where like cards with low levels would have lower point costs for your deck.
It wasn't designed. So I don't think it was that Kazuki Takahashi and Shueisha and all of them, whoever was all designing Yu-Gi-Oh at the time, I don't think they were short-sighted. I don't think they realized that Yu-Gi-Oh would need multiple anime series.
Yeah.
Because I could see a world where they never went into like past GX and we rocked with the cards how they are. We never got into a sync, we never get into an Xyz. The power creep would be purely on the stats of the monsters, their levels, and your levels could still matter, except power creep would just change your relationship with them. But because of the need for new Yu-Gi-Oh like series, we had to come up with these new flashy ways of summoning monsters. And at some point they said, screw the levels. What do those matter? We need to make a new shiny monster. And at that point, levels really stopped
they took on a different role. I want to quickly touch on how he talks about attributes, because I do think that this is something that I considered a lot like when I was a kid is like
Attributes fell off, bro.
Yeah, attributes mean zero. Zip, zero, zilch, nada.
I mean, I guess with your dominance cards, I guess.
Yeah, I suppose so. Okay, fair.
Like, if you're using like Hida, the Link monster.
Like, yeah, they can be like designated as things, but in a vacuum, there is no inherent advantage to just a monster being fire, which is interesting because I think that is something that Magic the Gathering kind of nailed a little bit better, where, and this isn't like a one-to-one thing, but like a flying creature like had an advantage. They're just being flying above, and I know that's
the Yu-Gi-Oh equivalent will be a type because we have winged beasts or bird or not birds.
Yeah,
winged beasts.
Winged beasts, and like this is sort of what and what. So you could take this as attributes or types, but like being flying in Magic and nothing else still has a mechanical quality to it, like an edge that it's got, right?
Right.
And I think that like it'd be interesting if what he's describing in Yu-Gi-Oh, you know, water can become like, I guess like maybe like null as in maybe like fluid to prevent destruction, or like wind can become earth to like not leave the field, or just all these things. Like I think that Yu-Gi-Oh could have, if it wanted to do that early on, could have implemented something like that.
So I think Yu-Gi-Oh actually did. In the earliest incarnations of this game, I remember in the old Yu-Gi-Oh manga, before we even got to really dual monsters in the manga, Kazuki Takahashi had created this elemental dragon game where it was essentially rock, paper, scissors, but with these dragons of different attributes. And though like many of those attributes exist in Yu-Gi-Oh today, and the cards don't do anything like it doesn't have any of that relationship, but in the old Yu-Gi-Oh video games, which are I think closer to some of the original ideas for how the Yu-Gi-Oh card game was supposed to work.
Yeah, those alignments.
They have alignments. They have the attributes actually mean something in those games. Certain attributes just trump others, where the stats of the card don't even matter. What was the game that had the constellations?
Oh yeah, Forbidden Memories.
Forbidden Memories. I don't know what that was supposed to be, but they did that in there too.
Another thing that also there were elements of in early Yu-Gi-Oh was like attributes would sometimes be associated with like certain types of effects, like fire would burn, like a lot of fire monsters, just Ultimate Baseball Kid and like Solar Flare Dragon. Water tended to be like bounce related, wind spins, earth was like usually flip effects. So there were parts of that.
And the same was true for types, right? I mean, a lot of your fish, sea serpent cards, they had that DNA of being able to hide, not being able to be damaged, like legendary fisherman.
Yeah. I also think I gotta give this new type credit, illusion. It's actually like probably the only type in Yu-Gi-Oh that has like an inherent like
illusion does what I think all of the other ones were supposed to do, like how machines were immune to spell cards.
Yeah, in the anime, yeah, I remember that.
I think Yu-Gi-Oh, they wanted to have systems like that in the base game of Yu-Gi-Oh, but ultimately decided not to, maybe to keep it simpler. So
That's true.
So that there's fewer rules you need to read in order to play a game of Yu-Gi-Oh.
So much of that now, I guess, has just been outsourced to archetypes.
And it wasn't in the anime, so I guess I said, screw it, we're not doing any of that mess.
Right, yeah. Either way, I think the question is well-founded. I would love to have seen all of that.
It's one of the reasons why I like playing the old Yu-Gi-Oh video games, just because there's fewer elements of the card that are left useless.
Right, absolutely. Well, yeah, that's the questions.
We have emptied our pot. Actually, there's still more in the pot, but we couldn't get
there's plenty. We always love it when you guys will submit questions. You can submit them at the form down below in the video description, or also, of course, just in the YouTube community space as well. We'll try to get to them. The announcement that I was going to make around premieres was what it was about. So I want to, in December, I want to experiment with something for YouTube analytics' sake. This is something that somebody had suggested to me, is what do you guys think of just for the month of December? So there will be like 4 episodes in December, or maybe 5, I don't know how whatever it maths out to. I was going to not do YouTube premieres and just publish the podcast at 10 a.m. Eastern time like we usually do, just as a video. I want to mostly do that for data. Would people be okay with me doing that? You can let me know in the comments.
Nah, Paul, they finna riot.
Yeah, I know that it is a bit of a distinction because like normally we do the premiere and
Premiere
stuff
game.
like that.
Let Paul know exactly how you feel about this experiment.
Yeah, and I would obviously go back to it, after that. But like, I want to see because I do feel like sometimes people will miss the premiere and then they kind of feel like they were left out and all these things. So
guys, if there's no premieres, you got to put your ones in the comments.
So we'll see. If you guys seem heavily opposed to that, though, I just won't bother doing it because I think we have a good system going. So it's just something that I had kind of considered. Okay, that's it. Next week we'll be back with
your regularly scheduled Pot of Greed.
Yeah, cool. We'll see you in the next one.
Pass turn.